7 bone-chilling disappearances that haunt the American soul forever. In the shadowy corners of American history lurk unsolved mysteries, dark enough to chill anyone's bones. 7 disappearances stand out, each a thread in a tapestry of enigma, dread, and unanswered questions. What happened to these souls? Where did they go? Their stories echo like warnings in the night, each one steeped in intrigue and shadowed by loss. Imagine your heart racing as the stories unfold, layered with darkness, fear, and the sobering reality of absence. First up, there's the curious case of little Timmy Harris. Timmy vanished one sunny afternoon while playing in the park, right under the watchful gaze of his mother. One moment he was there, laughing and chasing shadows, and the next, gone. Absence stretched over the playground like a veil, a void where joy had flourished. Eyewitnesses claimed to see a strange man lurking near the trees, his eyes twisting with something unsettling. Was it malice? That day, the park transformed from a haven into a haunting reminder of the unknown. The whispers began, growing louder in the weeks that followed. Parents avoided the park, their hearts heavy with fear. What if their children were next? Then there's Sarah Bennett, a college graduate who disappeared without a trace on a road trip across the Midwest. Her car was found, abandoned on a remote highway, boasting nothing but desolation for miles. Inside were her belongings, left untouched, her favorite sweater, a half-eaten sandwich, and a book with the pages still marked. It felt like she'd simply melted into thin air, swallowed by the vastness of the wild American landscape. Friends described her as free-spirited yet cautious, a paradox that begged the question, how could she just vanish? Was she taken? Or did she wander too close to something unknown that pulled her in? But the tales don't end there. Let us not forget Danny, the teen last seen fishing at a serene lake, where stories told of strange lights flickering above the water at dusk. His friends swore they saw him slip into the water, never to return. To this day, the lake remains, still, with a haunting calm that disguises its depths. Local legends speak of spirits dancing on the surface, luring unsuspecting victims into the dark embrace below. As these stories unravel, they stir unease, a tension thick enough to cut through. Each tale hints at something more sinister lurking just out of sight, forces we can't quite explain. It feels like an unsettling dance with the unknown, a puzzle with pieces that refuse to fit. The very air vibrates with questions. Will we ever know what really happened to these lost souls? Or will they remain a part of the fabric of stark American folklore, forever haunting our dreams? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect, and as the sun sets on this eerie landscape, the questions only grow louder. What binds these stories together? Is it just coincidence, or a warning of what lies ahead? In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into the chilling truth behind these disappearances. What if they're all connected in a way we never imagined? What if the answers are hidden in plain sight, waiting for the bold to uncover them? As night crept across the deserted expanse of the Midwest, whispers of mystery began to weave themselves deeply into the fabric of the American landscape. Each story a thread leading into the abyss, connected small towns and bustling cities alike. Shadows danced alongside every flickering streetlight, and the air grew heavy with suspicion. The dusty roads that had once welcomed travelers were now regarded with skepticism, haunted by memories of those who never returned. Among them, Timmy, Sarah, and Danny weren't merely missing, they were a collective call for justice, their names echoed from lips burdened by sorrow. But one name rose above the rest, a name that struck terror into the hearts of many: Evelyn Summers. Evelyn was a bright-eyed 16-year-old who carried the laughter of summer wherever she went. She was last seen in her hometown, a place where the scent of cornfields met the distant echo of childhood memories. That fateful Friday night, she attended a bonfire with friends, innocent laughter filling the air like fireflies. As the sun dipped below the horizon, friends noted her growing uneasy, her eyes darting toward the tree line where shadows twisted unnaturally, as if alive. "Let us get out of here," she had murmured, her voice barely a whisper. But when her friends turned to reassure her, she was gone. One moment she was laughing, and the next, she vanished. Her absence resonated like a ghost haunting the flames, leaving everyone unsettled. Search parties combed the fields, their hearts beating like war drums, hoping against hope to find her. But week after week passed with no sight of Evelyn. The community screamed her name into the dark void, praying for answers. As the nights grew colder, rumors began to swirl. Was she prey to the unseen forces that stirred around those who had disappeared before? Or was there a more sinister figure at play, someone familiar with the shadows, the unsettling man near the park where Timmy vanished? He was never found, but his name haunted a different town, another grim tale in an ever-growing collection of the lost. Weeks into her search, a local reclusate wouldn't stop muttering about the Whispering Woods, a thicket where the veil between this life and a darker one thinned dangerously. "Something sinister lurks there," he claimed, eyes wild as he spoke. Panic rippled through the townsfolk, and parents began locking doors earlier each evening, clutching their children tightly. As police lifted the search to the next level, the tension peaked. They received an anonymous tip, a chilling message scrawled on a piece of aged paper found in a mailbox deep in the woods: "The truth lies beneath the old oak." The message sent shivers down their spines. What truth? What lay beneath? With a sense of urgency, police summoned the community. But in the gathering crowd, fear bloomed. Could the place meant to keep them safe also hide unspeakable horrors? As people whispered in hushed tones, Evelyn became a beacon. Her disappearance illuminated a dark conjunction of mysterious threads tying numerous tales together, and then came the sound, night's whisper giving way to a faint sobbing drifting through the trees, chilling the bones of those brave enough to venture closer. Was it the wind, or could it be something more? Silence blanketed the crowd as they turned as one, eyes darting toward the woods, hearts pounding louder than ever. What would they find when they dared to step beyond the fragile ring of light cast by the bonfires? Would Evelyn re-emerge from the shadows, or would they, too, become a part of the haunting lore? With the night shrouded in mystery and the haunting sound still echoing in their ears, they felt the chilling pull of the unknown drawing them closer. The woods were waiting, but for what purpose? In the next chapter, secrets will unravel, and as the truth emerges, a chilling revelation may connect all the disappearances in ways no one dares to imagine. Sorrow hung thick in the air as the townsfolk shifted nervously, trying to make sense of what had brought them here under the piercing gaze of a starless sky. The sobbing sound returned, a haunting echo that curled around them like smoke. It was neither a figment of their imagination nor a natural phenomenon. There was something in the Whispering Woods, something alive, and it was watching. A gust of wind rustled the leaves overhead, sending shivers coursing down spines. Mia, one of Evelyn's closest friends, stood close to the edge of the bonfire's light, her heart racing. She could feel every set of eyes on her, each one reflecting the flicker of flames that momentarily illuminated the crowd's growing fear. "We have to go in," she urged, doubt knotted in her stomach. "We can't just stand here." "Are you out of your mind?" Jake, another friend, snapped back, his voice laced with panic. "What if it's a trap? What if she's shut up?" Mia's voice cut through his fears. "Stop talking like that. We need to find her." As if in response, the sobbing grew louder, almost pleading. It twisted inside each person's chest, incubating a dark sense of dread. They all had those faces: Timmy's bright smile, Sarah's radiant kindness, Danny's infectious laughter etched in their minds like a carving on stone. And Evelyn, she was the light of their little town, now consumed by shadows. Guided by the sound, Mia stepped forward, gripping the flashlight trembling in her hand. "I'm going. If no one else wants to, I need to know what is happening. I can't let fear stop me." The crowd hushed, the air thick with unspoken agreement and silent dread. The darkness ahead swallowed her as she stepped beyond the flickering glow of the firelight. "Wait!" Jake shouted, but Mia pressed on. The light illuminated only a few feet ahead, revealing gnarled branches reaching out as if to grab her. Each step carried with it a weight she never felt before. Her heart hammered in her chest, the sound crescendoed, drowning out the whispers of the woods. With the crowd receding behind her, Mia ventured deeper, adrenaline and fear battling for dominance. She found herself drawn to a massive oak standing sentinel amid the darkness, its branches twisting towards the heavens. "What is so special about you?" she whispered to the tree, feeling foolish. Suddenly, a flash of movement caught her eye. A shadow darted between the trees nearby, and without thinking, she called out, "Evelyn. Is that you?" The shadow paused, and the sobbing stopped. Silence wrapped around her like a blanket, thickening the air. "Please, if you're there, answer me." Panic surged within her, accompanying the breath she began to struggle to take. It was too long before she noticed the ground beneath the oak was disturbed, like something had clawed its way out. As she knelt down, her trembling fingers brushed against the cold earth. The warning in the message suddenly crystallized in her mind: the truth lies beneath. Mia's heart raced faster than ever. What lay beneath? What had been buried here? The sobbing resonated again, now sadder, almost desperate. With a surge of determination, she began to dig, her fingers clawing through the damp soil. The dark loam gave way, revealing a scrap of cloth torn and faded. She gasped as she recognized that it was part of the hoodie Evelyn had worn last summer. Panic surged through Mia as reality crashed down around her. "Oh God, no," she whispered, heart pounding in rhythm with her rising fear, but before she could react further, the world around her shifted, a strange stillness enveloping her, chilling her blood as dread settled in. The sobbing morphed, turning into a sinister laughter echoing through the trees, reverberating against the oak. She dropped the cloth, the sound of her breath hitching, and realized she wasn't alone. The shadows twisted, pulsing with energy, and she stood up abruptly, eyes wide with terror. In the depths of the woods, the truth was not just muddy and buried. It was alive, and it had awakened. Mia turned to run, but the darkness around her seemed to thicken, narrowing her path as the laughter grew louder, taunting her retreat. She had ventured too far, and the whispers promised she would never leave. What awaited her in the heart of the chaos? Would she uncover the secrets that eluded the town, or would the woods reclaim her as it did Evelyn? As the echo of the laughter grew closer, questions spiraled in Mia's mind. What horrors lay in the depths of the whispering woods? Would anyone dare to search for the truth, or would they remain chained to their fears? Mia's heart raced, a wild drum beating in her chest as the laughter enveloped her, a chilling reverberation that clawed at her sanity. She had to move. Staying in one spot was a death sentence. A flicker of light caught her eye, the glimmer of the flashlight still cradled in her palm. With a deep breath, she steadied her grip and turned to face the encroaching darkness. "Get a hold of yourself," she whispered, though the tremor in her voice betrayed her. She aimed the beam into the shadows, but it barely penetrated the thick fog swirling around her. The laughter echoed around her, mocking and cruel. It felt as if the very woods were holding a twisted celebration, feasting on her fear. Suddenly, a whisper threaded through the air, faint but undeniable. "Help me." The voice was soft, fragile, and unmistakably Evelyn's. It was a fragile thread, her only lifeline. With resolve igniting inside her, Mia pushed forward, her feet pounding against the ground, desperate to find the source. The ancient trees seemed to lean closer, their gnarled branches stretching down, as if trying to intercept her flight. Mia ducked beneath a low-hanging limb and stumbled into a clearing. The sobbing resumed, louder than before, a haunting symphony of despair that pierced through her resolve. She raised the flashlight, casting its slender beam toward the center of the clearing. What she saw made her blood run cold. A figure, barely distinguishable, emerged from the shadows, illuminated by the ghostly light. It was not Evelyn. It had no features, just a mass of darkness draped like a cloak. It raised a hand, a spindly finger pointed directly at Mia, as if it were summoning her to come closer. Her instincts screamed for her to run, but her feet felt leaden, tethered by the weight of dread. "Join us," the figure whispered, its voice like a cold wind whispering through autumn leaves. "The truth is within reach only if you dare." Mia shook her head, fighting against the pull of the sinister invitation. "No. I'm here to find Evelyn." The figure quivered, a low chuckle bubbling up from within the darkness. "She has become one with the woods, and so shall you." With a surge of courage, Mia turned on her heels and raced back the way she came, the laughter intensifying, swirling and morphing into a frenzied cacophony of mockery. "Run if you can," the woods taunted, the trees creaking as if shaking with mirth. Her mind screamed as she pushed harder against the thickening shadows, but the forest seemed to hold a mind of its own. Time distorted, her surroundings morphing into a labyrinth where every turn felt wrong. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she spotted the glint of something metallic in the underbrush. She hesitated, torn between safety and curiosity. But that was Evelyn's laughter resonating in her mind, urging her on. She swallowed her fear, racing to the glint and reaching down, her fingers brushed against a delicate locket, still warm to the touch. Panic surged as she opened it, her heart breaking at the sight of a photograph of Evelyn beaming with joy surrounded by their friends. The ethereal laughter faded momentarily, replaced by a voice sharper, more insistent. "Find her, before it's too late." Suddenly, the sun dipped low, plunging the clearing into pitch black. The laughter changed into dissonant wails, filling the air with a desperate plea. Mia's instincts kicked in again. Clutching the locket, she bolted but noticed the silhouettes of figures emerging from the shadows around her, eyes glowing with an unnatural light, disorienting her. Giggles echoed, and she thought she saw the fleeting figure of Evelyn amongst them, her mouth shimmering in a silent laugh. A thrill of hope surged within her, but as quickly as it came, dread poured in. Would Evelyn find peace here, or had darkness consumed her entirely? Mia shrieked, the fear surging through her once more as she stumbled back, terrified of the faces closing in. The woods tightened its grip, melding into an impenetrable wall of shadows. In that moment, she realized the woods weren't just alive, they were alive with hunger, and she was the next sacrifice needed to satiate it. "Help me!" she cried out, her voice swallowed by the sound of the laughter penetrating her very core. But would anyone hear her now? And even if they did, could anyone brave the whispering woods to save her? As the trees swayed ominously above her, the sobbing echoed once more, blending with the laughter, offering no comfort. This was the true heart of despair, a never-ending cycle of loss. Mia took a deep breath, heart racing as the shadows inched closer, looming over her. Could she really escape this darkness? Or would the woods bury her secrets deep? And as the laughter echoed in one final manic crescendo, she felt the claustrophobic grip of darkness pull her down. Mia's breath hitched in her throat, the cold weight of the shadows pressing against her. Panic coursed through her veins as the laughter twisted tighter around her, wrapping her in a cocoon of dread. She stumbled backward, her feet scrambling for solid ground in the encroaching darkness. Each heartbeat thudded louder in her ears, drowning out the sinister chuckles that echoed through the trees. The glimmer of the locket felt like a beacon in her hand. For a fleeting moment, she recalled Evelyn's warm smile, how they used to laugh under the sun, carefree and invincible. But that was before this wretched place had drawn them in. "I need to find you," Mia whispered, determination flaring in her chest even as fear clawed at her insides. Just then, thick branches snapped in the distance, a jarring sound that cut through the laughter. The figures, those glimmering eyes, shifted as if sensing something beyond her. Mia's instincts kicked in, and she bolted deeper into the woods. The underbrush scratched her legs, but she pressed on, heart racing. "Stay with me, Evelyn," she shouted, her voice cracking against the oppressive gloom. She was sure the woods themselves were laughing at her feeble words, but she clung to them like a lifeline. The pathway before her twisted and turned, leading her in bizarre loops that warped her sense of direction. She looked over her shoulder, catching glimpses of the figures trailing her. Their faces were shadowy wraiths, flickering like candle flames, sometimes appearing almost human, sometimes nothing but dark voids. Suddenly, she tripped, tumbling to the forest floor with a painful jolt. The flashlight clattered away, smothered by the creeping darkness. A wave of vulnerability washed over her as she scrambled to her knees, desperate to retrieve it, her heart pounding like a war drum. In the stillness that followed her fall, the laughter faded, replaced by a low, mournful hum that resonated from all around. Mia's gut twisted as the sound rippled through her. "Evelyn?" she called, her voice trembling. Silence hung heavy in the air, unsettling and alive. She inhaled sharply when a hand landed on her shoulder, a cold, clammy grip that made her skin crawl. She whirled around, finding herself face to face with something unspeakable. The figure was a grotesque parody of Evelyn, her eyes hollow, a ghastly smile stretching across her lips. "Mia," it rasped, the syllables dripping with malice. "You shouldn't have come here, there's no escape." Mia staggered back, repulsed at the distorted likeness. "You're not her. Get away from me," she cried, her voice rising. The figure's laughter morphed into a cacophony of shrill shrieks, resonating through the trees as more shadows emerged, swirling like smoke around her. They were drawn to her panic, eager to feed on her terror. With sheer desperation, Mia lunged for her flashlight, fumbling in the darkness. She found the cool metal and flicked it on, its beam cutting through the shadows like a knife. But instead of revealing salvation, the light seemed to focus the wraith's energy. They twitched and distorted, morphing from mere togetherness into a writhing mass of despair. More eyes blinked open, glistening with an insatiable hunger. "Leave her alone," a third voice suddenly cried out, deeper and more commanding than the rest. It cut through the thick tension like glass shattering. The figures hesitated for just a moment, turning their attention toward the new sound. Mia's heart skipped a beat, hope dancing within her. She spun to see a figure emerging from the trees, a silhouette framed by glimmering fog. "Run!" the voice urged, echoing with strength. "I'll hold them off." Mia froze, her instincts urging her to move, but her mind grappled with the enormity of the situation. Who was this savior? Would this stranger truly protect her, or was it all another trick of the woods? As Mia's resolve slipped again, the shadows lunged toward her savior, their ferocity reigniting the forest's laughter. "Go!" the figure cried, even as the shadows clawed at him. In that moment, Mia felt the grip of uncertainty weight her down like a stone. Would she abandon this lifeline? Or would the woods claim them both, lost forever to the abyss? With a final glimmer of instinct, she turned and ran, but as the laughter echoed once more, she couldn't shake the feeling that the woods were not just hunting her, they were waiting for her to return. And as she raced through the darkness, the chilling question lingered in her mind: would she have the strength to uncover the truth, or would she too become a whisper among the trees? Mia sprinted through the woods, the branches clawing at her like skeletal fingers desperate to pull her back. The laughter echoed around her, a demonic chorus that kept pace with her racing heart. She could feel the wraiths creeping closer, their dark forms slithering just beyond the thin beam of light, whispering promises of despair and hopelessness. Panic surged as she stumbled through thick underbrush, the memory of that terrifying face burned into her mind, Evelyn's grotesque mimic. Each step felt heavier, like the ground beneath her conspired against her escape. How could she abandon the figure fighting to distract those shadows? Was her life worth leaving behind a possible savior? Stop thinking. She chastised herself, forcing herself to focus. Each inhale was a reminder that she was alive, yet the woods conspired to swallow her into its eternal night. She darted around a massive oak tree, its gnarled roots sprawling like the limbs of a sleeping giant. Just ahead, a clearing opened up, moonlight spilling into an ancient glen. Mia hesitated, dread creeping in. The light illuminated a circular ring of stones at the center, a place that looked untouched by time and yet soaked in a heavy, sinister energy. Was this a safe space, or a trap waiting to ensnare her? But there was no time for second-guessing. She bolted toward the glen, an instinct driving her to reach its heart. As she reached the center, the shadows shifted behind her, closing in, their whispers rising like a storm. Mia turned to face them, breathing hard. "Leave me alone," she shouted, forcing her voice to carry over the cacophony. The wraiths paused, momentarily taken aback as if her defiance shocked them. The laughter dwindled, replaced by a chilling silence that enveloped the clearing. Mia's hands trembled as she raised the flashlight again, its frail beam a pitiful defense against the darkness creeping in like a tide. "What do you want from me?" She needed answers, clear reasons. A sign that she wasn't simply a pawn in their game. One of the shadows stepped forward, its form flickering. It hovered close, and Mia squinted, forcing herself to discern its features. It emerged, and to her horror, it morphed into the faces of those she had lost: friends, family, smiling yet hollow. "You know us, Mia," one of the figures whispered, the voice echoing eerily, weaving through the air. "You brought us here. You have to choose." Mia felt as though the ground beneath her swayed. "Choose? Choose what?" Her mind raced. "You're not real. You can't be." In that moment, the figure of Evelyn flickered again, she who had been the anchor in Mia's memories. "You can save us, or—" The voice faltered, the figure wavering like a candle in the wind. "You can join us." A tidal wave of fear crashed over Mia, pushing her back toward the glen's edge. This was a cruel game, leaving her trapped between her past and a future threatened by shadows. She felt the weight of her past, a past she had tried so hard to run from, to forget. Would she lose everyone again? A desperate pull of defiance surged. I want to let this happen," she shouted, her voice lifted by newfound strength. In that moment, the flashlight flickered sturdily in her grip. "Then prove it," the figure demanded, its hollow eyes now boring into her. Mia's heart raced, every pulse a reminder of what was at stake. She stared into the abyss swirling before her. "What do I have to do?" The shadows pulsed back in anticipation, forming a circle around her as if testing her resolve. "The truth lies beneath the stones." Dread rippled through her, fueling her fear. Behind that wall of darkness was the answer she sought. It called to her, whispering promises wrapped in horror. Aware of her choice, she took a deep breath, forgetting the numbness in her fingers. "I'll face whatever it is," she declared. "I won't run anymore." And as the laughter suddenly erupted behind her, Mia stepped closer to the stones, ready to unearth the truth and all the consequences that lay in wait. But was she really ready to confront the darkness that had her trapped in its grip? And what secrets would she uncover beneath the stones? The moment her fingers brushed against the cold surface of the stones, a surge of energy shot through Mia. It vibrated, thrumming like a heartbeat, sending chills cascading down her spine. Uncertainty gripped her tightly, but there was no turning back now. The shadows twirled around her, their whispers amplifying into a frenzied chorus, pressing in closer, feeding off her fear. "Face the truth, Mia," they urged, their voices intertwining like vines, wrapping around her thoughts. She could feel their desires, their hunger for her despair. "You are the key. You must unlock what lies beneath." She steadied her breath, adrenaline coursing through her veins. This was her chance. With hands trembling and heart pounding, Mia pushed against the rough stone, searching for a sign, an entrance. Every second felt like an eternity as the shadows slithered closer, their malevolent energy palpable. As she pressed harder, a rumble traveled through the ground, and one of the stones shifted slightly, revealing a narrow gap. A sickening sense of dread washed over her, yet an undeniable force urged her to delve deeper. Did it lead to her salvation, or damnation? Either way, she had to find out. The whispers morphed into frantic wails, drowning in a whirlpool of longing and despair. They threatened to overtake her mind, pulling her toward the darkness ahead. Mia grit her teeth, fighting against the flood. "I won't be afraid," she shouted, pushing forward despite the crushing solitude of the glen. She leaned into the crevice, the coolness of the air rushing out like a warning. "I need to know," she cried, straining her eyes into the dark void. Tentative hands gripped the edges of the opening as she peered inside. What lay beneath could unveil secrets or bury her deeper in sorrow. As her flashlight flickered, she caught a glimpse of the unearthly glow emanating from within. It swirled like mist, shimmering iridescently, capturing fragments of memories, her childhood laughter, sweet moments spent with Evelyn. All of it danced before her eyes before slipping away, fading into haunting shadows. Was this the past she had lost, or the future she feared? A piercing scream erupted from the depths below, freezing her blood. It echoed through the woods, a cry of anguish soaked in despair. Mia's hands trembled as she leaned closer, caught in turmoil. The glimmer pulled at her curiosity. "Evelyn?" She barely whispered, urging the darkness for a response. The shadows recoiled momentarily, as if her call had hit them with a powerful force. Silence enveloped her, weighing heavily. Then, an eerie voice slinked back into her consciousness. "You must choose, Mia. Will you dig deeper and face the memories buried within, or will you retreat to save yourself?" Her heart raced. The decision weighed on her like lead. It was a horrific bargain, her soul for the truth. She could sense the swirling emotions around her, a molten blend of loss and hope. "I choose to see. I want the truth," she shouted, her voice piercing through the oppressive aura surrounding her. Suddenly, the ground shook violently beneath her feet. A blinding light erupted from the gap, illuminating the clearing, chasing the shadows into hiding. Mia stumbled back, but she felt the pull of the luminosity, drawing her in, engaging her senses. Would this light lead her to freedom or deeper into a labyrinth of horror? As she steadied herself, uncertainty clawed at her mind. Was she prepared for what was to come? With a resolve building inside her, Mia took a step forward, driven by the ghosts of her past. Just as she hesitated, a chilling laughter rolled across the woodlands, echoing with promise and threat, and in that moment, a figure materialized from the shadows, one unmistakably familiar. "You don't recognize me, do you?" It taunted, the voice dripping with malice. The resemblance was uncanny, but there was something wrong, grotesquely twisted. A knot tightened in her stomach. Who was this mimic, and what did they want from her? The shadows seemed to breathe in anticipation, waiting for her next move as she stood teetering on the brink of a choice that could either shatter her or illuminate all that had been kept in darkness. As the figure stepped closer, the woods held its breath, and the darkness layered over Mia like a shroud. What would she discover about herself and those she had lost? Would she have the strength to confront the horror standing in front of her? The figure stepped into the light, its features becoming clearer, yet still cloaked in malevolence. Mia's heart raced as she recognized the face staring back at her. It was Evelyn, but twisted. The eyes sparkled with a sinister glint, and that once warm smile was a jagged line of mockery. "Why did you run from me?" The specter hissed, each word laced with painful memories. "I only wanted to help you remember." "Mia," the shadows whispered, their voices melding into a dark symphony, "she has been lost, just like you. Will you follow her into the abyss of forgotten truths?" Mia's mind recoiled. Struggling to hold on to her own memories, she took a shaky step back. "Evelyn, you're not her. You can't be." But inside, a flicker of hope battled with dread. The resemblance was too striking, pulling at the very core of her. "I am all that's left of the girl you once knew," the figure cooed, gliding closer, "a mere shadow of what you've become. I am the broken promises, the happiness you buried. Remember me well, for I am your past and your future." The forest shrieked as the trees swayed, shadows snapping like acrid tendrils toward Mia's ankles, binding her in place, ensuring she could neither flee nor fight. Doubt washed over her like a flood. Was this truly Evelyn? Had she become something monstrous that wanted to ensnare Mia in her own despair? With each breath, the overwhelming urge to escape battled against her curiosity. "If you're Evelyn, why are you doing this?" Mia shouted, voice trembling on the brisk, cold air. Wasn't it enough to be lost? Why torment me? Torment? The shadow stretched a grotesque grin, a pulling sensation on Mia's soul. No, sweet Mia, I offer you clarity. Come, delve deeper. Trust in the abyss. Only then will you understand what you sacrificed. A hot rush of anger surged through Mia. I'll never trust you. You're not Evelyn. You're just a reflection of my fears. But the shadows around her shifted, and the air turned electric, snapping with an energy she'd never felt before. A part of her ached for the truth, to unlock whatever lay underneath and recover her friend. With newfound determination, she stepped forward again, facing the figure. If you want the truth, let us confront it. Show me, she challenged, feeling strength blossom from deep within. The air thickened as the ground beneath started to pulse. Then prepare, Mia. The twisted semblance of Evelyn extended its hand, and brighter light erupted around them. Shadows whipped violently in protest. At that moment, she was enveloped by a whirlwind of memories, bits and pieces of laughter, love, pain, and the ultimate betrayal. They surrounded her, a cacophony of echoing emotions, each fragment threatening to consume her. Mia braced herself, willing to not only face the darkness within but to find the truth of what had happened to Evelyn. Bring it on! She shouted defiantly, the world around her beginning to shift and swirl. But that visceral, disorienting pull threatened to tear Mia apart. She steadied herself as she felt the influence of the shadows slithering across her skin, each touch reminding her of her own vulnerabilities. A sudden realization hit her like a train. What happened to my memories? What did I forget? She screamed, desperate for answers. At her outcry, the twisted figure howled in delight, its form morphing into countless images of Evelyn, faces intertwining in a grotesque dance of past and present. And amidst them, an answer flickered, a vision of a night that had changed everything, dark and haunting. Just as the truth began to materialize in Mia's mind, the forest erupted with an otherworldly roar, shaking the very foundations of her resolve. Will you wake up, or will you drown in your misplaced truths? The shadowed figure mocked, pressing closer, threatening to engulf her whole. The glen darkened, the sounds of the forest stilled, leaving Mia standing on a precipice. Did she have the courage to face what happened to Evelyn? Or would diving deep into her memories lead to her own undoing? Mia gritted her teeth, heart pounding, as she stepped into the swirling mass of memories. What awaited her on the other side? Mia plunged into the chaos, each memory swirled around her like a raging storm. The laughter, the fights, the moments stretched thin across a landscape of shifting memories. It felt so real she could almost reach out and touch them. But every sound carried the weight of loss, each image a reminder of everything that had slipped through her fingers. She opened her mouth to scream, but the cacophony of emotions drowned out her voice. Then, all at once, a single memory broke through, a sharp snapshot from that fateful night woven through all the others. The fluorescent lights of the school hallway, the echo of footsteps and the bitter taste of betrayal. Why were you there, Evelyn? Mia whispered as the image fixed in her mind. What did you see? The shadows tightened, tightening like a noose as the specter of Evelyn bore down on her. You want the truth? Then face it. The twisted figure howled, each word a biting reminder of events Mia had locked away. Suddenly, the visions intensified. Mia watched her younger self standing outside the school, waiting under sprawling shadows. She felt the chill of the metal railing in the cold night air, the nervous knot in her stomach as she wondered where Evelyn was. Was she late? The memory shifted again, showing a confrontation, Evelyn and a figure cloaked in darkness. Fear radiated from Mia's core as she realized, in this echo, she couldn't intervene. She could only watch a younger version of herself stand frozen, unable to reach out and stop the impending horror. What have you done? Mia gasped, horror clawing at her throat as she witnessed the dark figure loom over Evelyn. The flashes of hurt and despair ricocheted inside her, a brutal wave that threatened to swallow her whole. Your silence led to her suffering, the shadowy Evelyn taunted, its form twisting, reminding Mia of her insecurities. You chose not to save her, and now you must bear the weight of that choice. No! Mia shouted, tears pricking at the corners of her eyes as she struggled against the memory. I was too scared, too weak, but it wasn't my fault. The spectre laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the forest. You think avoiding the truth keeps you safe? No, Mia. It only binds you deeper into the cycle of despair. With each pulse of the shadow's presence, trauma ripped through her, a combination of anger, sorrow, and guilt clashing violently. Reverberations of her past haunted her, as if a chorus of voices shouted at her to confront the truth, to stop hiding. Face your fears. They cried, the shadows enveloping her like a shroud. Darkness threatened to consume her, each moment weighing heavier than the last. Mia felt a spark of defiance. She had to find a way out. With trembling hands, she grasped at the energy swirling around her, trying to make sense of the chaotic whirlwind. If this is my fault, then I'll fight for Evelyn. I won't let her disappear into the shadows. At her declaration, the figures of Evelyn and the dark figure flickered before her, two sides of the same coin. She saw pain etched on both faces. You can release me if you dare to confront your truth, the true Evelyn's voice whispered through the tempest. The shadow laughed again, a sorrowful echo that twisted through the night. But what if confronting that truth means losing yourself? Are you ready for what you might find, Mia? The forest began to ignite, bright light piercing through the shadows, renewing its energy even as darkness surged toward her. The unseen forces clashed, and Mia felt her own will pitted against the despair enveloping Evelyn entirely. Show me. Mia cried again, gripping the last threads of her hope. I want the truth. In that moment, Mia felt herself being pulled, mind and heart racing toward the light, ready to face whatever awaited her. But there was a chill, a heartbeat of an uncertainty lurking just out of sight. As the brightness enveloped her, a final chill echoed in the air. Can you handle the revelation? Or will the truth break you? The whispering shadows filled her ears, and then, with a forceful surge, everything went black. Mia gasped as the haunting void consumed her. Where was she now? What layers of darkness still remained to peel back? Would she finally understand the truth about Evelyn, or was this a descent that led nowhere? Mia's consciousness flickered, then steadied, as she found herself standing in the glen again. But this time, it pulsed with life, the oppressive shadows retreating, even if just for a moment. She felt the faintest warmth radiating from the stones beneath her, a lingering trace of hope that whispered she might finally uncover the truth. Fight it, Mia. She heard a voice call out behind her, a sound she recognized as belonging to Evelyn. The shadows closed in around the clearing, but with every heartbeat, the light from the stones grew stronger, as if they recognized her commitment to facing what had been hidden. Evelyn. She cried, her voice wavering. I'm here. I will find you. A soft sigh fluttered through the air, and the space around her thickened like a storm gathering strength. Suddenly, the darkness swirled angrily, twisting and roiling, while a shriek echoed out bitter and pained. From it, the silhouette of the dark figure materialized, towering over her, its twisted expression reflecting her deepest fears. Why do you disturb the cycle? It thundered, the shadows surging toward Mia, but she stood firm. This time, she wouldn't let fear consume her. Because I need to know what happened to my best friend. She shouted defiantly, a warmth igniting inside her. I won't run any longer. At her words, the shadows paused. Behind the darkness, she could hear echoes of laughter, the laughter of her friends, mingling with moments of joy and heartbreak. That overwhelming flood of memories stirred something deep within, empowering her to take a step toward the beast that loomed large. Show me the truth. With those words, the dark figure recoiled, flickering as the light from the stones pulsed again, a glimmer of illumination slicing through the chaos. Images surged forth, flashes of the night that had haunted her for so long. The confrontation, the arguments, innocence lost, each memory spiraled in vivid detail, layering upon her consciousness like a tapestry being woven. Mia now stood at the hose of the confrontation, the school hallway where the sunlight once poured through. She watched, helpless but the same, as younger versions of herself and Evelyn stood before their captor, the dark presence looming dangerously. Fear surged again through her veins, but this time, she pulled strength from Evelyn's essence. Would it stop here? Would she allow the darkness to swallow her again? No more. She cried out, adding her own strength to that forgotten moment. The illusion shattered, sparks of light igniting the air as she grasped the energy that flowed from within. The shadow flinched, its irritation radiating like a storm cloud hanging in the sky. But Mia pushed through, ready to rewrite the narrative of her past. We didn't choose this distance, this fear, this pain. We were friends. I should have protected you. And just like that, the world trembled around her. A blinding flash enveloped the glen, and she stood face to face with the darkness once more. This time, the figure faltered, as if it fed off not only her fear but more concerning her lost joy. You think you can change what was? It snarled, but she remained grounded, emboldened now with clarity. I can change what is. She declared, her strength magnifying as she clung tightly to the memories of joy, of laughter, the moments that made Evelyn who she was. Another pulse rippled through the air as shadows crackled, unraveling with each powerful heartbeat. The darkness splintered and began to fray, shimmering like threads coming undone. No. You will never grasp the truth. The shadow roared, but Mia pressed on, pulling even harder. You are not my fear. Her resolve solidified, slicing through the entity's darkness like a blade. You're the lies and the pain I've carried for too long. So go away. The woods roared back with turbulence, and the shadow screamed its final protest. In a moment of chaos, all flickered around her. The glen, the stones, her dark nemesis, they twisted and consumed themselves like lightning back to the earth, and amidst the turmoil, a shimmering light broke free. Mia watched as the shadow collapsed, every fragment of darkness dissipating into thick air. From the hollow echoes, Evelyn's form coalesced through the mist, her image bathed in a warm glow, a comforting presence that transcended time. Mia, she whispered, her voice soft, yet powerful. You found me. With tears flowing freely, Mia rushed forward. Within the embrace, they became whole again, the memories binding them closer. I'm so sorry I didn't know. I should have saved you. She sobbed, holding Evelyn tightly as relief washed over them both. It's all right, Evelyn replied gently, her smile shining bright. You faced the fear and broke the cycle. You set me free. The glen transformed around them, becoming more vibrant as if the very essence of life returned. Birds chirped, and the sun peeked through the once ominous branches, illuminating their reunion, a symbolic cleansing of the past and the torment it carried. As the two best friends stepped into a weight lifted. The memories that lingered weren't a burden but cherished moments that celebrated their bond, sharpening their resolve for the future. Together at last, they stood strong, ready to reclaim their lives from the shadows that had haunted them. And just as the shadows began to erase, a call broke through, beckoning the lost spirits out of the depths, providing closure to families that had long searched for their loved ones. Their fates entwined with Mia and Evelyn's, finally completing the fabric of memory that would now renew the face of their small town. And you know what? After this incredible conclusion, don't let the darkness creep back in. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss any of the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button because your support means everything and helps feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your thoughts, reactions, and theories about this wild ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this final chapter with at least 5 friends who need a taste of this spine-tingling resolution. Your participation keeps the light shining bright.